Hey guys, wait, let's turn the light on for all the good it's gonna do. Hey guys, welcome back or to the channel. Today is the day. So the plan is to mud everything and what else? Well yeah, put the lights on, put the lights in, and then we can put them on. We're gonna go with the POTLIGHT here. In the last video we discussed the two, and this one will be for the rest of the basement. And sorry, I'm getting text messages, so I'm being distracted. And that's going to be for these lights. We have 12 of them, so that's 6 lights on either side in 2 rows. And we will be putting them in this order and or plan. I had to do the remeasurements of everything, so compared to that, we somehow gained a ½ inch. And over here, it was 28 1/4, and we got 28.36, which is kind of like 28 3/8. I'm gonna measure everything out and put chalk lines and stuff and make it all good. And then after I have it all measured out, I'm going to lightly cut each one. And then I'll start with the mudding of all of this. And then, like, I'm gonna do 2 coats tonight. So like I typically do, is I put the 90 up, then I'll mud it with the fiber tape, and then I'll mud it with the finished mud, and then that way it's 2 coats on the ceiling, and then I can start putting in all the pot lights, and then the wiring and whatnot. So that'll be pretty awesome because I will have light in this room. This is exciting.
48 hours later.
Okay, so we're back. I have done nothing. I did look around in here and that's about it. So today, what we're gonna do is actually get onto installing the lights. Now, in order to do that, I got some stuff in my way. We're gonna move some stuff around because I was working or trying to work on here. Have a hard time working in this room because of dramatic reasons. Anyways, we'll be turning on a light in here. This is the layout we're gonna go with, and what I'm going to do is do a string line. I only need 2 string lines going this way, and then I'll mark it off where they're going to be as far as the distance is. And I'm going to remeasure everything just to make sure nothing has changed. But I'll put a string line going all the way across, put a screw and a screw, and then tie the string line in there, and then obviously it's going to be a chalk line. And then I make my lines for 1 and 2, and there are going to be 6 lights. And then I'm going to start doing the whole saw deal, which is somewhere, which I'll find it eventually. There it is, this deal. So I'm gonna have my vacuum in here, and after I adjust that to be 4 inches for those pot lights, and then this chalk line. So let's get started!
During this whole process, I'm checking my plans, putting the measurements in, and I'm visualizing what I want to do. I'm looking for the lights to be symmetrical because eventually that window is going to be one solid piece going right across. So I'm making plans for that to actually happen. I did reinforce the header and everything, so it's all structurally sound. But what I'm looking for is the look, to have all the lights evenly spaced, to have everything square, plumb, and straight. So I'm taking, and I'm repeating myself here, the extra time to be able to make sure that that does indeed happen.
Okay, so let's go over this. I've got, I measured from this, I don't know what to call that, this ducting to that ducting, and it's 116, and then right across is 199 and a half. Yep, 199 and a half. So it has the potential, this room has the potential to be square. Now, that being said, I started my measurements on this side because I can easily loop into there. And I measured going across from the wall to this point here, and I did the same thing on the far side, which was right here. Measured from that point on the wall, came across and used the level to go up, and I found that point there where you see the screw just sitting out, and I used the chalk line to make the blue line there. I did the same thing for right here, so we have 2 rows of pot lights, and that's to be centered within the between the 2 air ducts, so to speak. So from the left side here to the right side there, and I wanted to be centered within this area. Then I thought about it, well, what about symmetrical to the window to go up here? And then what about to be on this side, symmetrical within the door? You see the center mark there? I just took the difference between the two sides and came into about within 1/8 of an inch. Just to see what I like. Let's see where the lights were gonna see where the lights were gonna end up. So when you walk into the room, you would see 2 rows in the middle of the room. I was thinking about that and whatnot, and I was thinking about the light spacing and things of that nature, where the TV was gonna go, where everything was gonna sit, and overall, to get the biggest, like to have the whole room lit equally, it's best to put the lights in between the 2 air ducts, and then you get your split. So you have 3 even spaces, 1, 2, and 3. That gives you your split. You're not really gonna notice it on a daily basis because this is gonna be above your eye view. So potentially speaking, when you walk into the room, you'll be looking like this, and everything is gonna be right about here. You're not really gonna be looking up. Now, that being said, the vent I put symmetrical between the window, which is different from the symmetrical, or not rather than the 2 lights coming out. It's close, but I based that off where the window is sitting, and the window is not centered to the room. So I wanted to pick up that vent in just to be there. Now what I could do is bring the 2 lights where they're the rows sitting over to be center to the window. That's also a good idea. Not sure if I'm going to do that yet. I'm kind of thinking about leaning towards that so that it picks up the symmetricalness. Because that window's never going to change, even if the window does change, because I would like to get a single pane or something like that to have it go all the way across. So you want to walk into the room and see everything and not have your eyes catch things, because we always look for symmetricalness in people's faces, in our vehicles, things of that nature, that it gives us a more of a calming feeling. So if you meet somebody who has a very symmetrical face, there's a sense where you feel calm. So coming into a room where things are symmetrical, because these are two separate windows, but they are both the same. You have the center of the room with the fan with the vent. If I was to do it symmetrical, I would have to move this over this way, which I'm kind of leaning towards. I did want both of these air ducts to be the same size, but because the window's not centered to the room and the building of the house, I wasn't able to do that. Now, I could have moved out this wall to be the same depth as that, but then I would have lost some significant space on this side, even though I did build this wall out a little bit for soundproofing purposes. So we have the 2x4s, then the resilient channel, and then 2 layers of drywall, and that gives us the soundproofing. On this wall, I didn't do that, but it was already tinier anyways, and this is just an exterior wall, so it doesn't really matter. So all of this kind of weighs into my decision making. It's overly complicated, because that's me. I overanalyze everything to see where I want it to go. Now, talking to you guys now, which is me just talking to myself in a room by myself, I'm kind of following what I've already started with, having these 2 windows centered, and then having the vent centered between the 2 windows, and then following both lights. 'Cause that's what your eyes are going to catch first when you walk into the room. So that being said, now I need to decide on a distance, whether it's going to be this distance or that distance or this distance for the 2 rows of lights. After that, it's just equal spacing from front to back.
So as you see me working here, running around with the tape measure and the string lines and trying to figure everything out, I'm formulating in my mind what the ending result is going to be, visualizing, if you will, what the final look of this room is going to be. And I'm checking things, I'm trying both sides, and I'm just trying every single possibility and combination to find out where what I was going to work is going to work for me.
So overall, I decided to keep it centered with the vent, with the window, and I divided that into 3. So I took the center line and then the measurement of the window inner dimension, because eventually the window is going to be 1 solid window. So I'm like, this is the focal point of the room, and this is the designer coming out of me. So got the center line up there, is out by maybe an eighth of an inch, not that bad. It's 55, so I divided that, and I got 27.5. And from the center line, I went over to make that 28 because the screws themselves are a 1/4 inch. So 28 from the center line, then it's 56 going across that way. And then all the way over here, when we come back over, I did the same thing, except I measured off the wall, which should be mostly straight. I was out by about a 1/4 of an inch. So when I came over here, I put it up, and then I measured over to be 56 inches from outside to outside, just like on the other side over here, not to get you guys too dizzy. And then at the end of it, just for kind of, you know, giggles and trying to make sure, because I know this room is vaguely, roughly, kind of square. I measured from corner to corner and corner to corner, and both of these ended up being 206 inches, which kind of blew me away. So I've got my lines, I'm happy with them, they're good. I don't want to overcomplicate this any further. So now I'm going to start dividing the distances for the 6 pairs of pot lights.
So now that we have our basic plan of how we want these lights to be laid out, we'll be marking them from right to left or front to back, and then back to front is when we'll check all that. And then we'll recheck all that just to make sure. And then we'll also be checking out for parallel, so that these lights, when they're finally cut, they'll end up being as close to perfect within an eighth of an inch, we hope.
So guys, I did figure out a layout that I wanted, then I got sidetracked, did some other stuff this weekend. And then I decided to put up some drywall. So we got all this done, used up the rest of the Resilient channel, and used up the rest of the drywall, had to patch in some stuff, blah, blah, blah. We are going to start cutting the holes for the pot lights. So I've marked this out about 3 times, and somehow when I got over here, you can see how these are matching up perfectly. I was matching up perfectly. When I got over here, I was off, so this is me remarking it and going section by section, and then I measured it going all the way this way, and then measured it coming all the way back this way, and we are legitimately 28 and 3/8 in between each mark point. After all this checking, rechecking, double checking, and all that nonsense, we got it straight. So now we're gonna make 6 holes on this side, and then we'll mark everything out again on that side, and then put 6 more holes on this side. And how we do that is with this thing. So basically, right here, you see the tool, and we are gonna make that mark on that line, and so that drill bit was bent, so I went and grabbed another one. The bent drill bit, that's not good. The straight drill bit, much better. So back on track. Nice and easy. I'm going to increase this to just drill. There we go. We're gonna back out a little bit. Now we're gonna go back into it. Want to go nice and easy as much as possible, gently. And there we go. So as you can see here, I hit a stud, which I knew right away. We're not worried about that. And that's how we're going to continue as we cut these holes. So let's go on to the next one. In between each, I actually vacuum out. There we go. the next one. So we have the first two done, and I'm going to continue going along this way. Now the wiring is just in front of all that. So I'll start pulling it down, and then we'll get to wiring in the pot lights as we go.
As we start drilling out all the holes, it's important to wear your safety glasses, and since there's insulation, I'd recommend a respirator and some work gloves, maybe the latex type. So that is what they look like. All nice and flush. They have a gasket all the way around it, so you'll be able to have a very sealed, air sealed anyways, light. So the steps going forward, since all the holes are dug, so to speak, or cut, we're going to be pulling down all the wires and then wiring them in. And we start just by, and we do this all incrementally in different steps. So we pull the wires down, cut everything, and then grab the light boxes, wire them all up, except we leave the terminations open, and then we'll do all the terminations right at the end. So all the lights are actually hooked up, and we start popping the lights back into place. So we do this from the left side to the right side, and then we swarm all the way back again when we go to wire them all up.
And just like that, we have everything wired, all 6 lights. I did remeasure everything as I'm bumping into stuff, so I'll just kind of collapse the tripod here. There we go. So I measured everything off. I was within 1/8 of an inch from the distance here to the wall there, distance there, and then I remeasured everything, and I'm 28 3/8 all the way across. And again, I was actually bang on right here and bang on right there. Never mind the server rack and all the wires and all that nonsense, lots of wires hanging down. So we're gonna start at the end and start wiring all this in, coming across here and then back again, finishing with the final light, and then we'll do the terminations on the light switch, and then all these lights should work. We'll see. So before we get back to it, I had a subscriber give me a bit of heck because I use an X-Acto blade to strip wires. And when you do that, this blade here actually cuts the copper. Now I know that sometimes it breaks, sometimes it doesn't. This is actually a bad habit I got when I was 14 and started wiring things like my cottage and whatnot. Yes, the cottage is still there. So after a few months of thinking about it, this is the other tool I use, which is my switchblade. Keep that nice and sharp. Not really, it's an ongoing joke at work. The part that I actually use is this serrated part right there. And it's a very dull knife. So now, I went out to the store and I grabbed a cheap one of these. I wanted to see how well it does. And the best part is about these things, is the blade is actually meant for each type of wire. So if you have like 16 gauge or 18 gauge, 12 gauge, whatever the heck it is, you're able to cut it nice and smooth, then strip it without actually cutting into the copper too much, which then will prevent it from just simply shearing off and causing a short. So this is the recommended tool to use, not a switchblade or any utility knife or X-Acto knife, whatever you want to call it.
So since I was 14, I've been using an X-Acto knife or some sort of knife to strip wires. That's what I've always done. 35 now, and I've just started using wire strippers. This tool was amazing. Now the reason why I never used it before is because when I was 14, I did have one, but it was a dollar store grade, and it was deplorable. So I said, you know what, never using one again. And up until now, I haven't.
So all the pot lights are in. I had to cut the drywall twice because the studs were in the way and they couldn't let the box get in. The pot lights are slim, so that doesn't matter. And now to wire in the switch to turn them all on. And we'll see which ones are not lit due to the wires popping out or whatever it was. But I do tape all my connections to make sure that any vibrations will not loosen them up. Computer, turn on the basement lights. As you can see, we've got one line of lights, so the disconnection is somewhere right here. we're going to investigate. So upon investigation, we found that this wire here was never connected, and I had cut the wire thinking it was one pass-through because this thing was so bloody long, as you can see over here. So I just thought it was okay, it's a pass-through from this one, which it wasn't. So all I have to do is connect that wire. So totally remove this wire here, and then butt in that connection, and then bam, all these lights will be working. So that's what we're gonna do. Computer, turn on the basement lights. And they're all working. Computer, turn off the basement lights. It is 1:30 in the morning. And I am done. Wanted to do some mudding tonight. We didn't get there. I wanted to do some crown molding today. We didn't get there. But we got the lights up. That's pretty big. Took a little longer than I thought, even with all the bits and bobs and troubleshooting and whatnot. All in all, I'm happy. So, that all being said, hope you enjoyed the video. Please like, share, and subscribe. And I will catch you guys in the next one. And if you're doing something questionable, name it after me. Peace!